everybody. What I want to do here is get this recording started. So it's just straight up at 2 o'clock of the hour. So obviously we're going to give a couple of minutes to let folks kind of come in here and all that good stuff. But want to welcome y'all. Let's see. Welcome Bruce, David. Oh, man, Dave, what time is it, man? Is it like 4 o'clock in the morning in Australia? Lori, welcome. And I see you just chimed in here. So let me know, guys. What I want you to do is just put a message in the chat box there. If you can see my Facebook page, so you'll see some other members of Client Crusher on there, and here we got some other folks kind of cruising in. So again, just drop a little note in the chat box there. Let me just take a look here. Bear with me here. We're I usually, there it is. I can see your Facebook page. No, it's 6 a.m. Dave, wonderful. Much more civilized. All right, good. Excellent. Orlando, welcome. Susan, welcome. So I know that there's going to be some other folks kind of cruising here, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to get started in just maybe a minute or two. Just thought I'd give a brief intro to you guys kind of coming on. I am obviously I'm recording this. So today you guys are in for a special treat because one of my personal mentors, and the guy who's guilty and completely responsible for getting me to come on board with internet marketing. I'll tell you, we've got some amazing stories. This guy, I love this guy like a brother, and so you'd never know, all the backstory between Clarence and I, and that's okay. Maybe he'll share some of that as we go. But Clarence is just an amazing human being, he's a good friend, and a great mentor. So Clarence Fisher is going to take over in just a minute, and he's going to share his screen, kind of going to go through some things. And what I want you guys to do, as Clarence is chatting, and he might pull me in or whatever, guys, this is for you. This is to be interactive and dynamic, and I want you to throw your questions in the chat. And if you just raise your hand or something, at the end, if we're going to do some Q&A, so that we can have some dialogue, because really this is for you guys. We've, as you can see here on the screen, we've got a bunch of new members in the monthly intensive, so you can see some of your smiling faces here. And again, welcome to all the new members. This is pretty exciting stuff. So we're going to be doing these, as you guys know, and for those of you who are new, once a week. We're either going to do a call or a webinar. And one of the reasons that I'm favoring webinars, especially for today when Clarence is going to share, is because you guys, it's a more interactive, more dynamic experience. Personally, I think you can just engage more, and there's some things that I think are definitely better said, quote unquote, through a visual presentation via a webinar. So what we're going to do is we're going to welcome Rose and welcome Susan. So we're going to get started here. Clarence, man, can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Also, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Now, can you guys hear us both pretty well? Just want to make sure the audio is clean before we jump into this thing. So just let me know in the question or the chat box if you could hear Clarence okay there. We'll just take a quick look here. Okay.
Check 1 2.
Okay, yes, here you go. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass the screen over to you, Clarence. Let me just give that over to you, and then I'm going to let you rock and roll, my man. And here it comes.
All right. Can you see your beautiful face there?
I can indeed, and liking the crest down there at the bottom. It seems so regal. What do you think? I mean, you're like a high power marketer or what?
Yeah, Fiverr is awesome.
No doubt, some stories to tell. Well, listen, man, I'm really excited to have you here. Thanks for being a part of this. And you know what? I just want you to kind of share your story and share some insight, because I've learned so much from you. I know everyone here on this webinar today, if they'll just give their ear, I guarantee they're going to walk away a different person.
Well, hey, I appreciate it, and I appreciate you having me. I heard you say y'all in the beginning, and I am proud that you said that. If you guys don't know Brian, I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Brian spent some time here, and that's actually where we met. So him being from New York, and if you can get a New Yorker, just say y'all, you've made an impression. So what was that?
Absolutely.
So getting started, what we're going to do, and Brian, you'll have to look at the questions because I can't really
Okay.
uh, see them.
I'll manage that. No problem.
All right, awesome, good deal. So we're going to talk about breaking through some barriers and getting to the life that you want. When I spoke with Brian, I guess last, whenever it was that he had asked me to speak, and I was thinking about what is the best thing to share. I mean, what do you want to talk about? SEO? Do you want to talk about uh, I don't know, getting leads or things like that? And what's really on my heart and close, uh, what pushes me, drives me, is sharing with others how to break through whatever is holding you back. Now, I'm not Tony Robbins, and I'm not, a guru like that, but I've been through some things. As you've been through some things. So I'm going to tell you my story because I think that's the best way for me to share with you how to break through whatever may be holding you back. And, as I tell you this, I don't want to take away from your story because everybody has a story. Everybody's been through things. You've been through some crazy things to get to where you are today. But let's get started. Like I said, I'm in Tulsa, and I see we have some people on here. And when I am in front of people, I try to dispel myths about Tulsa, Oklahoma.
No, laugh, dude. I lived there for 2 years, man. I just know so little of the Okie culture.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I don't know where this got started,
Oh, come on.
but this is not Tulsa, Oklahoma, guys. So we can dispel that one. And then some people, when they think of Oklahoma, they think we still have dirt roads and horses and things like that. Um, Wrong again. That is not Oklahoma.
That's so
Is
true.
that right, Brian? That's not Oklahoma
No, that's not Okie at all. Not the Okie that I know.
at all. And some people think that Oklahoma, well, this is parts of Oklahoma. I'll give you a few parts, but not really Tulsa. Tulsa is pretty much this little city, and it's about 1 million people in the metro area, including the suburbs. I live in a suburb now called Broken Arrow, and Tulsa is where I set up shop. You know, and we started in 2010, and I think that's about the time. It's just really, really cool to be here with Brian and his group uh, because I was there when he got started. So, in order to share with you and talk with you about breaking through wherever you're at right now, the best way is to tell you my story, like I said before, and I call it the true local marketer's story. Now, I'm kind of aging myself with this graphic. Does VH1 still exist?
I have no idea. VH1, any hands raised for VH1 here?
Yeah, anybody know? I don't watch much TV anymore, but the true local marketer's story. So this is how it goes. Okay, and again, I don't want to take away from anybody else's story. I want you to think about something that maybe, and really what's been holding you back, or what you think may be holding you back. Maybe um, somebody did something wrong to you. Maybe your parents weren't this. Maybe you dropped out of college. Maybe I don't know what it is, but you know what it is. And a lot of times we hear people tell their story or we see it in a magazine and we think, so what? But we don't very often turn it on ourselves and say, okay, so what? Well, so what? I didn't graduate college. So what? My parents were this. So what? Whatever it is. So, in order for you to get, and I really hope you can get something out of this today, just think about really quick what you believe is holding you back, and you know what it is. I mean, no matter what level that is. I mean, Brian, you've got a level that you want to hit, right?
Absolutely.
Um, but we're gonna so what is what we're gonna say to that. Now, I was born in right here in Tulsa in some what you would probably call extreme poverty. My mom was 14 years old when she had me, and there's five of us. My dad was 18 when all that hanky panky started happening, and he was an alcoholic. He died when I was 14 years old from cirrhosis of the liver, blood toxicity. And if I thought we were broke or poor when he was living, I mean, people living at the poverty line were like the Vanderbilts by the time we got going. I mean, conditions had gotten so bad to where we were living in, of course, government housing. And I remember I really liked Raisin Bran, but I got to where I'd wake up in the morning and pour a bowl of it, and I had to sit and wait and just watch for a minute because it became normal for the raisins to sprout legs and just walk out of the bowl. Uh, just just crazy situations. We had, so many mice. My brothers and I stayed in the same room, twin beds. They're not on the. It's just really crazy to even think about now. Not on the rail or anything like that. They are on the other side of the room, sleeping head to toe. If you can imagine, I'm on this side. And I remember one night I was asleep and I got woke up by this kind of stinging on my finger, and I woke up and this mouse had been chewing on my finger. I was so mad that I just set traps all over the house, and I spent the whole entire night catching mice, going outside, dumping them off, resetting traps, and until the sun came up, and I went to school, and came back, realized I hadn't made a dent. I know what it's like to not be able to flush the toilet for a week because there's no water. I mean, just really, really extreme, and I say American poverty because we don't talk about it. We don't talk about those situations. But as you can imagine, I made it through high school. I was working 40 hours a week by the time I was a senior, and I didn't graduate. Brian, I don't even know if you knew that. I don't think you knew that.
No, I didn't.
So I didn't graduate high school, but I was pretty good in music, and I made it to LA to do some I was a pretty good rapper. And went to LA to record. And this is when, that's me looking a little bit different.
Come on now.
Yeah, that's me. Nick Cannon, I think. What was that?
Who is that guy?
That's me. And I think we were at Robert De Niro's restaurant at this. Robert De Niro was not there, but he has this little bitty restaurant where you can eat. It's me and some of these guys. Brian probably doesn't even know MC Hammer. You know who Hammer is, don't you?
I do know MC Hammer, indeed.
Alrighty. R. Kelly. That's right before the Grammy Awards. So I am thinking I'm on the top of at the top of the world, sorta. But they call it starving artist and musician for a reason. I slept on floors and finally decided to come back, and I became a radio DJ. And I was a radio DJ for a long time. But being on the radio, you still don't get paid very much money. So I was still in the street, and by this time I was doing pretty much everything I had to do to survive, and you can fill in the blanks. of what I'm doing. I am actually that's me in the pink. Yeah. I mean, this is walk across the street when we're on the same side. You kind of cross the street and just pass this guy, right?
Wow.
This is that level, and I'm on the radio, and but I'm still kind of in the street doing my thing. And I'm drinking very heavily, kind of reminding myself of my dad almost, because one thing you did get as a radio DJ was plenty of free drinks.
Wow.
And, I found myself kind of going down this spiral, and this is probably how it's going to end for me. My life peaked when I was in LA. And I got a call one night while I was on the air and got invited to a party after I, got off the air. And I said, yeah, I'll go. I'm not going to turn down a party. So I go, and there's this glass floating around with this little white stuff on it, and I'm thinking, I've never done cocaine. I think I'm gonna do that. Why not?
Wow.
so, so I do this. If I'm getting too deep for you guys, let me know.
Oh man, keep it real. You kidding? I mean, wow, this is
But
raw. I like it raw.
I want to let you know that you have this opportunity right now, and I'm gonna bring this back to how important this opportunity is. But this plate goes around, or this glass goes around, so I do a line, and the next day I'm super, super productive. That next day I'm super, super productive.
Mm.
The next day I'm super, super productive. I'm like, what is this? So I called the girl whose house it was, and I said, what is that stuff that I took? And can I get a little bit more of it? And she goes, well, it's called crank,
Mm.
kind of like meth or whatever. Well, fast forward, I got some more. And then fast forward about 2 years, I think. I don't really know what happened, but I just know that I had lost every single thing that I had. I lost my job,
Mm.
um, lost my girlfriend at the time, lost my house. Matter of fact, she left the house, but left me with the house, and I didn't know what I was going to do at this point. So I did the only thing that I did know how to do. I humbled myself, and I went and I got a job waiting tables. Now, this is pretty humbling at this point. Notice the year on that?
Wow.
Okay. Now, I don't know when, how long these things last. I know, I didn't get this in 2012, but my goal was to not be working there in 2012. Now, somewhere along this path is when I actually met you, Brian,
Mm.
because I joined a company, a networking company, trying to figure out how to get out of this situation. Here I am waiting tables. I don't have a high school diploma, let alone a college degree. I don't have any real skills. So what am I going to do? And so as I work double shifts trying to figure out what I'm going to do, I really can't afford the house that I'm in. And you can say anything you want to say about network marketing companies, but one thing they did, uh, as a matter of fact, there's tons of successes. But this was the first time that I was introduced to a thing called personal development and actually reading books that you don't have to read. And they introduced me to Think and Grow Rich. It was the very first time I have read that. If you've read that book, put yes in the chat. Have you read that?
Yeah, that's good. I'm looking for some feedback. I'm gonna put mine in because I've read that book and
Yeah,
bought the audio series. It's very powerful. Okay, Victoria says yes.
awesome, awesome,
Kevin,
Victoria.
okay. Oh yeah, there we are. Bruce, David, yes. Many times over, Bruce says, nice. I'm telling you, it's a
Absolutely. So I now have this book on audio as well, and I listen to it at least once, twice a year. But I got introduced to Think and Grow Rich, and this taught me that if you need to have a definiteness of purpose, is what it says. So know exactly where you want to go, what you want, and then have a burning desire to get there. Now, Brian, I had a burning desire to get from the waiting tables, but I didn't really know what the purpose was.
hmm
I didn't know how I was going to do this. And then I read this book called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. Have you read that?
I have it right here on my bookshelf.
Oh my goodness. Okay. All right.
So good.
So what The Slight Edge did, if you haven't read this book, you can pick it up. What The Slight Edge taught me is that, it's not really success isn't really an event. Getting from point A to point B is rarely an event unless you win the lottery. And then, of course, we know the numbers about lottery winners. But what it is figuring out what that definiteness of purpose is, and then taking small steps every day, doing the exact same mundane steps every single day, just walking towards that. And then before you know it, you will be there. That's kind of the synopsis of it, is to take small steps. Things are easy to do, but they're easy not to do. And then The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz. And so this was thinking bigger than where I was at. You have to actually be able to see it before you can get it. And you've heard it. I mean, this is stuff that you've heard before, but imagine starting from absolutely zero, actual negative, and getting turned on to this. How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie. This is just my starter kit, kind of how I'm reading between breaks, between shifts. How to Win Friends and Influence People, teaching me how to handle my, how to solve altercations with conversation. And then I only read half of Seven Habits. I have still not finished that book.
That's a monster book.
It is a monster, but I got 3 habits, and they've been working pretty well. So here we are, and let's figure out a plan. I started looking at the successful people that I was waiting tables for, and I started having regular people come in and ask for me as they were sharing their success. One thing that I found out about successful people is they really do want to share the secret. They want to share their success. They want you to win. And I remember my last day or my last week waiting tables, being able to tell them that this is my last week, and just how happy everybody was. So this is what I did. Decided going to read at least 10 pages a day of a good book. I've given you some that you can start with, but the 10 pages a day was recommended in the Slight Edge, and I would just get up and just read 10 pages a day. And I put Shake the Haters off because there's something that happens when you decide to do something different. I don't know what it is. Wherever you're at right now in your business, maybe you're on a lunch break right now, and you're listening to this, you're watching this. There's somebody around you that doesn't really support what's happening. You gotta really try to keep your eyes on the prize there and make conscious decisions about everything you do. What I found out was there's this thing called strengthening and weakening decisions, and we make them every single moment of the day. Like right now, my thing is losing weight, so I have to make these strengthening and weakening decisions every single day about everything I eat. And Brian's been on me for I don't know how many years about what I eat. So I decide what a strengthening or weakening decision is every single moment, in every single decision, it either brings you closer to your goal or further away from your goal. So when I get up, I have to make a strengthening decision of making my calls or prospecting, or a weakening decision of leaving and going to do something that's not going to bring me closer to my revenue goal or my business goal. For in my marriage, I have to make strengthening and weakening decisions. The strengthening decision to shut everything down when my wife gets home, or the weakening decision to just keep working all night.
Yeah, we know about that.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, started doing that, and what do we have here? So there was a rapid transformation that took place, and what I'm going to share with you right now, this is what I did. Everybody in here is in business, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, good. So here I am, I'm waiting tables. And I don't know, you are wherever you are in your business right now. I just want you to think about rapid transformation. What I did was I found an outsourced provider. If this will work. Boom, found an outsourced provider, And Brian, I know you teach all kind of different methods on getting clients, but I'm just kind of going to roll through here. I made a list of 50 to 100 people because that's what I was taught in the networking space.
Hmm.
And after that, I contacted them all, and all I did was ask for referrals, kind of indirectly. And my goal was to talk to 10 business owners or talk to business owners until somebody said, yes, I'm just going to make a change. And if this seems simple, guys, this was really simple.
Love the picture.
Yeah, that was my very first um, check. It hit 10K in about 30 days. This check that I'm holding was the very first $1,000 check, and I got in my truck and called my wife. By the way, let me tell you, the girlfriend that left came back, and we are married now. So there was a good ending to that, and there's a good ending to this. So I got in the truck and I called her and I said, "Hey, man, or hey, babe, this works, and so let's go get some more." And then after that, I got called by these folks, and I don't know if you guys remember this, but there were these little rubber bands that kids wore that were in the shape of different animals, camels or giraffes or whatever, and they would wear them on their wrist. It was a real big craze a couple of years ago, a few years ago. They were called zany bands or silly bands. They called me and they said, "Hey, Clarence, can you make us a website? We need it in like 24 hours." I said, "Sure." And I got off the phone and I was like, "I don't know how I'm going to put up a website in 24 hours," but he FedExed the check and I got it the next day. So what I put up for them was just this one-page website so that they could go to a show to see if these things were going to work. Well, it did end up working, and long story short, in about 18 months, we ended up selling $40 million worth of them. Then we did it again with Slapwatch. Sold about $10 million of those in 12 months. And then at that time, my accountant said, "Dude, do not take another check in your name." We started Tulsa IM in March 2010.
Oh, that's great.
So that's kind of how fast things changed. So when we talk about breaking through barriers, and I just kind of just gave you that story just to go back to deciding exactly what it is you want, decide exactly what you think is holding you back for number one. For me, it was education was holding me back. For me, it was, um, self-esteem, of course, drugs. That's pretty big. Oh, you got to quit that. Okay, you can't do that. Um, but getting past that and understanding what you have right now with Client Crusher, with everything that you're learning, that somebody like me can do what I do now from doing what Brian's teaching you, to me, is a pretty powerful thing. So at this time, I said, well, how can we get more clients? And I joined Toastmasters. Do we have any Toastmasters here? Probably, I don't know.
Yeah,
Anybody Toastmasters?
yeah. Just drop in the chat box. Has anyone ever been or currently involved with Toastmasters? I have not yet, so let me just take a look here, see if anyone kind of chimes in here. Um,
You don't you don't need Toastmasters, Brian. You're so like awesome.
well, thank you. Can I quote you? No.
Yes, absolutely. So I went to Toastmasters and I said, "Hey, I'm going to do more public speaking. Is how I'm going to get more people, right?" So, is anyone interested in public speaking? Or I know that that's people would rather die, I think, than speak in public. It has been the poll.
Yeah, I think we're a little bit freakish if we actually desire to be in front of a group of people.
Yeah.
stage. Most people think there's something definitely wrong with your mind.
Well, let me tell you this: when you speak in public, when you do these events, you're it's so easy to get clients because you're already the authority, right? You're the assumed authority because you're speaking. I'm going to give you some. I'm just going to keep going and just give you the formula that I used here. I decided that I was going to teach everybody that I knew everything, or everybody that I ran into. I was going to show them how to do it, and when to do this thing, the internet marketing for their business, and then say, by the way, hey, I can do that for you if you want. Even yesterday, I sent a proposal out to a lady that was trying to tell me that, well, she can do this, and they just, kind of basically trying to put me in my place as far as, there's 50 million of you. I can really do this. I just don't have the time. And then boom, there you go. There's the answer. You don't have the time. So I actually, Brian, I sent her links to how to get your local directories. I sent her like the Moz/local. I sent her basically everything. I sent her the whole kit and said, hey, here you go. You can do it. If you want me to do it, this is how much it costs. And, she called back and said, okay, you guys go ahead and do it.
I like it.
Right? Because, the time is real. So what I did is I decided a way to capture leads, how I was going to capture leads, wrote a book, or you can have one written for you, and then repurpose that content. The same thing that's in my book, this particular one is not available anymore, but turned it into a blog, and it's a blog post, podcast, videos, and then all I taught was what was there in the book. And then when I did speaking, all I did was um, teach what was in the book. That's it. It's like the broken record. It's the exact same thing. Things get a lot easier when you choose a specific vertical. But of course, I built it right here in my backyard first, and then I realized I had three or four of a particular business, and so then I start going down that road. You want to include your story. If you're writing a book or having it written for you, you want to include that, include client success stories. If you don't have those, then get testimonials of your character, on your character. This book has testimonials of my character in there. I had a couple of big client success stories that I shared with you earlier. But of course, your contact info and then a call to action throughout the book. Does anyone have a book by chance?
I got my hand raised. Of course, I get.
Sweetness. How has that been working for you?
I tell you, it does two things for me that I found. Number one, like you mentioned, Clarence, it's a credibility piece. It's just there's something to be said about being an author, a published author, to say, yeah, I wrote a book. If nothing more than just during your conversations or, whether you're meeting somebody locally or you're on the phone, having a resource that you say, you know what, I wrote this. It speaks something to your prospect or to the audience more than what you could actually tell them. Tells them I'm an expert, right? I actually cared enough about this to write a book and to educate you. Oh, by the way, here's free copy. Would you like it? So it really positions you as an expert. It gives you credibility. I mean, and it instantly separates you from 99% of the other Tom, Dick, and Harrys out there who wouldn't care to even have a book, even if it's only 10 pages, you know?
Yes, absolutely. And what I would do is when people would inquire about my services or I'm calling on a lead, I would thank them after I talk with them and then just mail them the book and say, hey, by the way, right? There's something about getting a package in the mail, and then when I call them the next week, then they're like, oh, I got your book. Oh yeah, oh that thing, yeah, yeah. So it's kind of worth the time if you want to do that. It'll be a really good investment, I think. And then I just started training. Who can I train? Who can I talk to? So I started in church. This is actually the very first flyer for my very first speaking engagement. It was at Victory Christian Center. and I was so nervous that I was visibly sweating so much that the lady that came on after me invited me back up to give me a hug.
Nice.
You know what I'm talking about? So I went back to the table. We had a table in the back, and I told my wife, I said, "Oh, that was not good." And she said, "No, you did great." But I'm like, "You're my wife."
Yeah.
But then afterwards, people started coming up and asking, could they talk to me? So, the moral of that story is you don't have to be, great. You just got to start, right?
Mm.
So BNI, Gold Star clubs, they're always looking for guest speakers. Universities. Now here's something that is really funny. I spoke at Langston University here in town, and they had students that were there in that classroom. Then they had me being via satellite to another campus. So here I am talking to these college students, these business major whatever college students. I told you earlier that I had not graduated high school, correct?
Hmm.
So afterwards, I'm talking, and they're like, "What was your major?" Like, I don't, what do you do? So I have to switch that over. But I'm just saying the opportunity that is here for what you have, it just is awesome. Chamber of Commerce, the Better Business Bureau, speaking there, SCORE, the retired executives, they are looking for people to bring them into this new age, and they consult businesses. I get business there all the time. They're consulting businesses um, that need to know internet marketing. So I'm going to really hurry up. We've got 40 minutes into this. Okay, so here's how you do this, and you're going to record this. Brian, do you want me to give you these slides? Would everyone like these slides so that you can?
Yeah, guys, if you want the slide deck, just hit one, and just drop that in the chat box or the question box. Okay, so Bruce is saying, yep, one, please, yes, please. So nice. All right, cool, very cool. I'm going to
Okay, good deal.
interject here, Clarence, because I think it's, even though we're a little crunched for time, I want to say this, guys. I met Clarence for the very first time. We talked on the phone first, and I ended up showing up at one of his speaking engagements, right? So Clarence would hold a meeting every single week, and I showed up to one of these things, and he gets up there and does this thing, and he's all looking polished, bang, in the suit, and I thought, man, this guy's like a pro, you know? And wow, he's good. He has such presence. He has such charisma. And I don't think I ever told you that necessarily, Clarence, about that the very first time that I met you. But I thought, wow, I'd like to be able to carry an audience like he does. Yeah, I mean, Clarence is a bigger guy than me, right? I'm this little skinny runner dude, and he's just built more like a linebacker. But still, I thought, man, I wonder if I could even hold myself like that. And that posture can translate and does translate to a microphone, to a webinar, to a telephone, to really anything. But I just thought I'd kind of chime in there, and that Clarence really inspired me the very first time that I met him in terms of his speaking skill. And then I certainly took some of those cues and then ran into local networking meetings and that kind of thing. And then of course segued into more online stuff to build my offline consulting business. But I just thought I'd mention that, man, because you're a powerful speaker.
Oh, I appreciate that. No, I did not know that. I think a lot of what comes out of me is just the passion of not wanting to wait tables.
Yeah, right.
Uh, so you speak pretty passionately. No, when you want to get out of wherever you are, then it shows, and you have to have a passion for helping people too. I mean, you would not be doing this if it was just for the money, I don't think. I mean, you have a passion for helping people, and I think business owners see that when you're talking with them. They can see that you really do want to help them, and those are the people that become your partners. Um, so find the best organizations in your niche. If you're primarily focused on chiropractors, you can talk to chiropractors or associations locally. If it's dentists, everybody has an association, so find them, decide who you want to meet, and then call them or go to one of their meetings. If you call them, ask, you can meet them over coffee, lunch, or even show up at their next event. After you meet with them, send them a thank you card as soon as possible, preferably that day. There's nothing like meeting with you, and then that very next day they get a thank you card. And you can include your shock and awe package. This is an extra. If you have that book, if you have, maybe I don't know, a video of you speaking or whatever, you can send that to them. So whenever you speak, make sure that you ask for permission to record it, because you want everything to build on top of the last time you got to speak. This is me at the International Association of Administrative Assistants. I had no idea that this association existed, but these are all administrative assistants for powerful CEOs in town. Now you talk about a captive audience. Their whole thing is to vet me and then go back to their CEOs and say, okay, yeah, let's give them a shot.
Nice.
So look and see if you have one of those in your city or town, because they are definitely looking for speakers, anything that will benefit them and help their bosses. But for this slide, really, you want to ask for permission to record. You want to have your video camera, your tripod. If you can look right there to the right, you see my little tripod and video camera. It's nothing fancy, because the whole point is to get it on video. Why do you think that is, Brian?
Because there's nothing quite like video that just...
Absolutely. That's the whole point. Also, the picture here. This picture was taken by my wife. So we've got the picture and we've got the video to use as social proof.
Nice.
So make sure you have your laptop, your flash drive, your clip. You want to make sure you get there early, because things, for some reason, just tend to not go how you want them to. Any handouts. Here's the big one that a lot of people leave out, is invite key prospects or centers of influence that you've been talking to that may be in the area. Hey, I'm speaking at the International Association of Administrative Assistants. If you were thinking about booking me or allowing me to speak at your association, why don't you come by and just kind of hang out, and then you can get a taste of how it is in real life.
It's good.
Okay. Okay, so make sure that you edit your presentation to match the audience. I made this mistake at the Oklahoma Association of Engineers. I'm speaking to a room full of engineers who are, well, if we have engineers in the audience here, you know about engineers. They are an analytical bunch. So I had a presentation that was not edited to match engineers, so they picked that apart. They're like, well, does this even work for engineers? I haven't seen the word engineer once in your presentation. Like, oh yeah. Again, I'm sweating profusely. But show up an hour early, like I said. Here's a key thing too. Meet 3 to 5 people before the talk begins. And the reason you do this is because it eases you. After you've met 3 or 5 people, you're not talking to a cold room anymore. You're talking to those 3 or 5 people that you've become friends with really quick. And then also, they have a connection with you. So the energy that they're giving you, you can feel. And you've got friendly people out there. Now, there's a trick that I use every single time. Of course, speak loudly, clearly. This is that Oklahoma Engineering Conference where I started sweating profusely. And let me give you a close to use here. You want to talk fast enough to keep them awake and entertained, but here's the 2-minute aha, the gold nugget. When you finish your talk, then you say, hey, we've got a couple of minutes here. What I'd like you to do is just kind of let me know what aha or gold nuggets you got out of the talk today. So what this does is, number one, it gives you some social proof, because someone raises their hands and say, you know what, I had no idea that this, or this is what I'm going to do starting tomorrow. So you have other people that are giving what they got out of it. So you're ending on a great note. And then you close with a story. Never ever close with question and answers. We will today, but if you're speaking to a crowd, never close with question and answers. Why do you think that is, Brian?
Well, you could be unprepared. It could open up a can of worms, maybe go a different direction that you wanted the meeting to go.
Yes. At this very meeting, I finally kind of made my way through to the end, and I ended with question and answers. And one of the guys said, he was the guy that said, this is not for engineers.
Oh.
Can you show me how this worked for an engineer? And I was dumbfounded. Like, you weren't even here the whole presentation. You just walked in.
Hmm.
Um, so luckily, I had met 3 to 5 people that stood up for me.
Nice.
So I'm going to give you the real deal. It's not always awesome. So you can leave books for everybody. You can make an offer, a special limited time offer. We've done that, and that works great.
Hmm.
Um, for people that want to talk with you today, you can tell them put their business card in a bowl for registration for an offer. And here's one thing that I do with that camera. When it's closing down, I have a second person with me that gets a video testimonial from 2 or 3 of the attendees.
That's good.
You're always getting testimonials, always. So powering through this. Wow. I've only got 3 more slides here. Okay. So send a thank you note to the coordinator or whoever invited you as soon as possible. You want to follow up with them, and you want to ask them, hey, if you enjoyed that, do you have anyone else or any other associations that could use that? I stood up at a meeting 2 weeks ago and let everyone know that I'm talking to the Tulsa County Bar on December 9th. I'm talking to the Bar Association, and not association, but Tulsa County Bar. And I said, well, hey, I'm looking for more speaking engagements like that. And just like that, I got referred to the Oklahoma CPA Association and the Tulsa CPA Association. So those were all booked just from asking for other leads from someone who had already seen me speak.
Nice.
So you want to do that, and you want to thank them, and you want to ask for the referrals. So let's double back and let's talk about how you are going to break through whatever is holding you back. I wanted to give you some specific things that you could do. I always like to kind of be on webinars where there's, I don't know, some practical things. But number one is to decide exactly what you want. Mark Twain said that I can give I can tell anybody how to get what they want. The problem is nobody can tell me what they want.
Mm.
So you have to decide that, and you got to understand. I'm going to tell you something else that pushed me, guys. It was October 2nd, last month. I lost my mom, and she was 56 years old. I told you she was 14 when she had me. 56 years old. Tomorrow's not promised at all. I mean, we kind of live, we know this. We know this could be our last day. We know this could be the last moment. This could be your last webinar. But we don't act like it. We don't live like it. You have to do it now. That DNA attitude, you have to do it right now. Decide exactly what you want. Decide when you're going to have it in a reasonable amount of time. Then you got to decide what you're going to give in return for what you want. One of the things that I do see that beginning people do is say, well, I'm going to offer every single thing. You can pick just one thing that you offer. Build that till you get to, 6 figures, and then add another service. But pick something that you're going to give in return for what you want, and then just keep pushing. If it doesn't work, change it. But you're never going to change you're not going to change the goal. You're just going to change the methodology, what you're doing. And I know there's all kinds of things in Client Crusher that you can switch up. if one thing is not working. But here's the big thing, and it's the last slide, is when I got to the point where I had lost every single thing, and I had a house that I just knew I couldn't make the next payment, but I'm waiting tables. I decided that this is not how the story is going to end. It's not going to end like this. And I keep saying that all the time. Every new level is this, the story's not going to end like this. Every barrier that you hit, you have to decide, is it going to end? Because it's your decision. You can stop right now. Everything that you're going up against, when you got on this webinar, everything that you're going up against, you could get off of here and you could stop right now. You have that power. Or you can go. You can say, this is not how my story is going to end. I'm going to put things in place, and I'm going to get what I want. Brian, do you have any, are there any questions about what we covered there? I know I kind of got a little, but I get passionate about this.
No, it's good. It's very good. All right, guys, if you have questions or any comments, or if, then drop it in the question or the chat box. Also, if you guys got anything in particular, like maybe one point or one aha moment, then drop it in the chat. I mean, I personally, have something I want to share with Clarence, but I think it'd be valuable feedback for him, and also always commit yourself to anytime you're on a webinar, you're on a call, you're on some sort of training component, anything that involves you trading your time for something else. I always want you guys to make that commitment. What's the one thing that I could take away from this, I could glean from that can make a difference in my life and or my business, right? I mean, always. And that could be something of you learn what not to do as much as perhaps what to do, right? Pretty important stuff. So just drop that, into the question box or the chat box, whatever one there. And because I'd love to be able to get the feedback. So let's see, we've got a couple of questions or comments here. Stefan is saying, unreal. Thank you. Well, hey, that's good. Victoria is saying, I like that. Let's see, Rose is saying, how do we go about creating a book and publishing it? Rose, that's a really great question. And I thought the shock and awe package that Clarence had was an absolute powerhouse. And Clarence, if you have a thought along these lines, go for it. I wanted to give you guys something as my way of saying thank you for being monthly intensive members, and that I wrote a book. In fact, I've written several books, but one in particular that I'm using now called Winning Internet Marketing. And it's about 60 pages. And I want to give you guys a copy of that book that you have free reign to go and obviously take out the Brian speak, right? And you have free reign to go use that in your marketing efforts. So all that you'd want to do is simply just get a cover made. And like Claire said earlier, you can get a cover made for all of $5 or $10 on Fiverr. So just swap out the cover and it's a Word document. So you can go edit that as you desire and use that as your own. So Rose, that's certainly something that I found personally very, very powerful. As Clarence says, I remember the first time that I saw Clarence's book, I thought, wow, holy cow, you have gone to the next level, my man. And I was really, really impressed. I thought, I need a book, so Clarence, if you want to chime in with that, great, but I just will leave this thought off. I will send out an email to you guys, okay? And I'll get you. I'll attach the book to the broadcast email that I'll send to each of you, and then you can, like I said, just go ahead and it'll be an attachment. Just take it, tweak it out, use it as you like, and you have my permission to do so. So Rose, hopefully that answers your question. Clarence, do you mind just sharing a little bit about your book and why you decided to do that, but maybe if you have any thoughts as to how somebody can get a book, maybe they don't want to use mine, maybe they want to get something different. Any perspective on that?
No, that's great. I would definitely use yours. I did not write my book. My book was a book that was written for local marketers, just like you did. I paid what did that thing cost? Like almost $2,000.
Whoa.
So so I would take you up on your offer.
Okay, guys. So here's the scoop. You can go drop two G's like Clarence did, or you can you can take my book for zero cost, and you can. And I actually wrote every word myself. I didn't have somebody write that. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. Ghostwriting is really wonderful, and I just felt like I needed to write that book. And writing 60 pages takes a while, as you can imagine. So I put some serious effort into that. But you guys are welcome to go the paid route, or you can take mine, or write your own by all means. Again, that's one of the great things. We're talking about breakthrough today, right? And then Clarence seeded in some really cool ideas I felt about how to, score some local clients and build credibility and build some juice, some your mojo, right? Some power, personal power. It's by stepping up to the plate, embracing something that you're maybe not necessarily all that comfortable with, and taking ownership of that. Right? Remember, Clarence talked about, he said the engineer meeting, and I didn't say anything about engineers in this presentation, and he kind of got whacked, over the head by one of these guys, so to speak. And that's really what success, I've found, is all about. It's embracing concepts that you're not maybe 100% comfortable or familiar with, and just taking action. If there's one thing that I have learned about Clarence that he has instilled in this guy for, oh man, Clarence, how many years have I known you, man? 7 years now, something like that, maybe 8.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Is that Clarence is an action taker, and I know that Clarence came out of a really brutal situation, and and to see where he's come from, both then and now, always inspired me to also be a guy who takes action. And Clarence has certainly been pivotal in helping me to give me a swift kick in the behind when you say, hey, what are you doing with what you learned? Listen, you bought this course, or I remember this course that Clarence and I both got, and what are you doing with what you got? You taking action, and Clarence knows me enough by now that I'm an action taker. See, I'm always talking about taking imperfect action rather than inaction. Because at the end of your week or your month or your year or life, you're going to look back, and what you're going to remember is that you took action. You went for it. You were like the ornament up on the hood in the wind. You may not have all the answers. You may not know how, but what happens? You're pressing forward, right? And you're moving your business and your life further ahead so that you're a greater blessing to somebody else. So just a couple of thoughts there. All right, so I've got a couple of comments. Let's see. David's saying, what do you cover in your presentation, Clarence?
I cover local listings, basically anything what I'm doing. I don't cover anything that we don't do. So if it's reputation marketing, we do reputation marketing, pay-per-click, some retargeting. It's broken down to a reputation section, a reach out and get more people section, a how to get more referrals section, but I only talk about things that we can actually provide, because at the end of it, I want them to come ask me, can you do that for us?
Nice. Oh, that's great. So again, Clarence has graciously said he'll give us a slide deck, so that's cool. Some of you guys had asked for it. Bruce is saying public speaking is easy for me. I used to be a pastor. Nice.
Wow, sweet.
Yeah, that's wonderful, and we definitely can. We've got the Christian contingent on this webinar, which is kind of cool. So, by the way, if you guys don't know, Tulsa isn't just in the Bible Belt; it's the buckle of the Bible Belt. Okay.
Tulsa, Jerusalem.
I actually met Clarence when I decided to have a radical departure, leaving pharmaceuticals, and I went out and decided to go to Bible college in Tulsa at a school called Rainbow Bible Training Center, non-denominational. It's a really great old Bible school. And anyway, I met Clarence not at the school, but out and about. And anyway, it's kind of cool. So Bruce, spot on, man. That's really wonderful. He's saying great presentation. Rose is saying thanks very much. Vivian says thank you. Wonderful. Thanks for the book. Very generous. Well, good. Very good. Does Clarence have any YouTube videos of his public presentations? Bruce is saying. Clarence?
No, Bruce, but I can send you some. I keep them behind closed doors so that I can book presentations. So I think right now we're working on chopping some up, but I don't have any complete presentations out there.
Okay. So, Bruce, if you
on purpose.
Oh, okay. Nice. Bruce, if you want to go ahead and fire me off an email to support@clientcrusheracademy.com. Then what I'll do is I'll just segue between Clarence and he can fire me off at link or something like that. That'd be great. Okay. Lori's saying, question, in addition to speaking engagements and the book, before you had, quote unquote, those things, how did you make sales calls? What did you say to the first 50 or 100 prospects? And what did you do to offer? What did you offer to do for them and for how much money? So basically, she's saying if you had to do it all over again, what would you say to get maybe $10,000 in client income in the next 30 to 45 days? Great question, Lori.
Hmm. Well, the way that I did it then and I wonder, would I do it the same way now? I just know that I had made the decision to speak to as many business owners as it took to get someone to take a chance on me. So I wrote down that list of people that I knew and asked, who do they know that own a business? And I didn't get as many people as I really thought, but I wrote an email to everyone on Facebook, all my friends on Facebook. Now, I don't know if you want to do this or not, but I messaged every single person individually, people that I hadn't even known since high school, um, and let them know that this is what I was doing. Do they know a business owner that I can talk to? And I had a lot of, actually, I did have one guy that sent me, his mom had been in business for about 10 years here and just knew a whole bunch of people. He sent me her. But I actually walked into businesses. I didn't have a business card. I remember writing my number down, and Brian, I know you're going to laugh. I remember writing my number down on a piece of register tape.
Wow.
Um, because I walked in to offer him a video. I'll rank your video for free, uh, just to get the testimonial. And then, it's just really so hard to get free, to give away free. It wasn't until I started selling them for $500 that I started getting people to take me up on it, which is really ironic.
How odd is
Um,
that? Can I just tell you that I know of another guy, same deal. He decided to write a book. He wrote it himself, which is kind of interesting. And he also sold the book for $500. He's already sold 4 copies.
yeah.
And then he paid marketing, save one email blast. Like it cost him $180. He's made almost $2,000. I just like, holy cow! People pay $500 for a book. Apparently they do.
Yeah. So, I mean, to answer your question, what I would do is write down as many people as I know to try to get referrals from, and then once something happens when you get in front of a business owner and you truly care. Now, you got to truly care about getting them results, which I'm sure you do. Um, I remember my very first check, the check that I showed the picture of. I was sitting in front of him and I started talking about backlinks. I started talking about this, asking him questions, letting him tell me what he wanted. Like, what kind of challenges are you having right now in getting new clients? I'm asking him this. What kind of challenges are you having? Well, I'm having a challenge with this and challenge with that and challenge with this. Well, when he said that, you guys know way more than they know already. So when he said that, an idea popped in my head. I just kind of shared that idea. He said, "Yeah, that'd be great. How much?" And then at that point, I froze. I hadn't thought of that through, even how much I was going to say. I think $1,000 came out, and he wrote $1,000 check. And then that's when I had realized that people will pay money for this. But in the very beginning, I tried to sell those videos for free actually, and couldn't get a bite, and then sold a couple for $500, and then I got that $1,000 check.
Wow. So we're going to wrap this up with Stefan's question here. It says, I keep letting the awful phone calls get to me. Clarence, how do you let that roll off your back?
The phone calls were cold calling?
Yeah, when he has a bad prospect call.
Oh yeah, yeah. Man, uh, sometimes it kind of hits you in the gut. You get this sick feeling in your gut, and you have to realize that you learned a way not to do, not to do it. After every single phone call, I remember a time I was talking with the guys that own a barbecue place here. It's pretty big. He's a kind of a pretty big guy, and I was actually sitting with him, and I was totally bombing on this deal. I didn't say the price confidently. He asked me questions I wasn't ready for, but I kind of stumbled through it. And I got outside and I got in my truck and I just had this really sick feeling, kind of like, I don't know, if your girl calls you up and says I'm leaving you or something. It was it was just really harsh. But what I did was decide that again, that's not how it's going to end. I just didn't get that one. So what did I do wrong? Well, I had learned a new script that I was trying to go over that I just didn't really know instead of doing what I knew to do. So to get over it, you have to look at getting somebody else really quick to get in front of and just forget that you lost it because we only feel sick because we think we did something wrong and we lost that one. We actually never really had them. We're just talking to people. So it's one of those things where you just got to get comfortable with realizing you're not going to win most of them.
It's good. So true. I'll throw in my 2 cents there, Stefan. I've had so many phone calls. I've cold called, and I know, Stefan, your phone is mostly ringing by your lead gen stuff. You're doing the rip-off report, and I think you're doing the ambulance chaser method. So spot on, dude. Just you're bringing in money, and you're really after it. So I commend you publicly for that. I'm really proud of you. And especially given the fact that your job is, I think you told me you have to work 72 hours straight at a time. I mean, and you still somehow pull this off. So what I found is, like Clarence said, that was the aha moment for me right here is you're not going to win everyone. You're not going to win most of them. And they were never yours to begin with, right? A prospect is a prospect. Even a customer, I found, is it really your customer? I found that there's a life cycle of customers and clients. And some of my clients have lasted a couple of months. Most have lasted several years. And I just recently lost a very large client, my biggest one ever. And what I realized is that, well, even though I still have clients who've been with me since day one, there's a life cycle and to clients. And then when you're talking about prospecting, there's also the fact that you're not going to get everyone. That guys, that's my big aha moment off of this right here is that you're not going to just plan on not getting, the vast majority of these people. It just isn't going to happen. I mean, even the best sales guy or salesperson in the world, they're probably never going to close more than, 30%. I mean, you're bringing it home. If you're on cold traffic, I'm talking 30%. That means that even if the best salesperson in the world is closing 30% of pure cold traffic, they're losing way more, almost double, and then some, more than they're quote unquote getting. So I don't know if that helps with some perspective, but it is what it is. So Clarence, any parting words, final words? I really appreciate you sharing and bringing it home, man. It's good.
No, I just thank you for having me here and thank everyone for spending your time with me. I know it's the most precious asset that you have, and I super appreciate you being here.
Nice. All right, guys. Well, and girls. When I say guys, I mean guys and girls alike, because there's a nice mix here. We're recording this, and I'm going to work on getting this copy to you, and so I'll ping you guys via email and probably drop in the Facebook group as well when that's ready, and I'll get you a link. So if you have any additional follow-up questions that didn't get answered, just go ahead and drop them in the Facebook group. That's what that group is there for. It's for you guys to interact with each other as much as it is with me. Ask questions, share comments, successes, challenges. That's really what this group is all about. And all that said, I want y'all to take action. I want you guys to be able to have gleaned something out of this, even if it's just a nugget of inspiration. So, I've got the energy to just make another push today that perhaps you didn't have before this webinar. To me, that's so important because, like Clarence said, life is very short. My mom's or my wife's dad, my father-in-law, died about a month ago, and one of my very close friends of many years died 3 weeks before that. And so it's a sobering reminder, not to be melodramatic, but life is finite. It's what you do with it that counts. And my greatest desire is that you guys are even going to take just a little bit of inspiration today, and it's going to push you or propel you forward to take better action, maybe more comprehensive, more complete action, just maybe action if you felt a little bit sort of stuck, and know that success is for absolutely anybody, you included, right? Success is a process. It's not a one-step kind of thing. So all that said, be encouraged, guys. Be inspired. Thank you for again for taking the time to be here. We're gonna. Oh, nice. Had some nice comments. Well worth it. Great presentation. Thanks. So Clarence, you're getting some nice love over here in the in the chat. And so, guys, be inspired. Take action. And any other questions? Let's just communicate and have that dialogue in Facebook. And we will talk to you all soon.